screenwriter fans. You are now in the podcast for Pirates of the Wild West. Yes, no more ... I finished my book. It's Pirates of the Wild West. So let me break down exactly what we've got here. So the novel is and revolves around the amazing, the notorious, the legendary pirates of the Golden Age, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the ones that everybody talks about and Disney's made movies about and has a fantastic ride all around the Caribbean pirates of the Golden Age, the 1700s to this, like the early 1700s. So as I've gone through the list so far, we have Blackbeard, we've got Charles Vane, we've got Anne Bonny, we've got Black Caesar, and we've got more coming up. So there's several more pirates that are characters in this book. So this is a bit of a fish out of water story that I wrote, where these pirates of the Golden Age are transported into the Wild West. 1873 is when they show up. And I hope that if you get a chance to read it, that it'll be amazing. So the book is finished. It needs to be edited. And now I'm on a hunt for a book agent. And I'm not opposed to self-publishing this. I know my way around Amazon. And over the time that I've been writing this book, I've been researching self-publishing, because having an agent going the traditional publishing route is a shot in the dark. Maybe somebody, wants to get behind you and support you and push it into a publishing house so that they can put it in Barnes and Noble or other places. But, this is 2022. The pandemic's, come and hopefully gone, and things have changed. If you want to put out your own content, it's totally viable to do this now. So that may be the route. We'll see what happens as I'm editing it myself and then looking for an editor to do this. I'll let you know how the agent search goes. At the moment, I've submitted to about 25 different agents, and some of them say they'll get back with you within a week or 2 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, depending on how busy they are. And sometimes they just don't get back to you. But I've had 3 rejections so far. So I'm assuming from what I've read that those are going to pile up, that get used to getting rejection letters when you're going down this route. But I believe in the story. I believe it's fun. And I'll update as these last couple of podcasts come out with these other characters that are in the book. Today, Pirates of the Old West, we're talking about Sam Bellamy, Black Sam Bellamy. Now, this pirate is the actual most successful pirate of his time. And this is really based on this one treasure that he got. And so we'll go into that as the podcast goes on, right? So I like this character a lot. He's a young, dashing pirate of his time. He also has the same birthday as me, February 23rd. Now, this guy was born in 1689 in Devon, England. And when he was about 13, he started sailing with the British Royal Navy. And he actually fought in several battles at that young age. And then there's no real reason why he traveled across the pond to arrive in Cape Cod area around 1715. But allegedly, he was out there to maybe seek some relatives in that area. So now there's an abundance of lore about what happened to him in this time frame. So he's a guy who is a sailor and really nothing else going on with it. That's all he's known. But he meets this beautiful young girl in Cape Cod. Her name is Goody Hallett, or she's been called Mary or Maria, but mostly from books. Going back historically, Goody Hallett, Hallett, is the woman's name. And he falls in love with her. She falls in love with him. But she comes from a well-to-do family, and her parents do not think that this poor young sailor is husband material for their daughter. So Bellamy, he decides to seek out his fortune and then return to her. He meets a guy who becomes his friend. His name is Paul Graves William, and he's a wealthy jeweler around Cape Cod area. And for whatever reason, this young man, Paul Graves, he wants some adventure, and he's telling young Sam Bellamy about around Florida coast. There's this Spanish shipwreck, and it happened in like 1715. This treasure fleet wrecked on the reefs around Florida. So a lot of pirates and treasure hunters had been kind of picking the bones of these ships. And so he calls on Bellamy to help him out on this expedition that he is going to finance, because Paul Graves is not a sailor, he's a jeweler. So he needs somebody who knows their way around ships. And so Bellamy's this guy. So they take off on this adventure to go pick the bones of this pirate fleet, or I'm sorry, this treasure fleet, not pirate fleet. And so they leave the Cape. Now it's found out that this girl that Bellamy had been seeing, she's pregnant. And let's get back to that in just a few moments. So she's pregnant, he leaves, he's off on his journey. So let's look a bit into his journey with Paul Graves, right? So they go to this area where the sunken fleet is, and they are, they're not able to get that much out of it. It's kind of been picked clean. So they end up sailing into the Bahamas, where they meet Benjamin Hornigold. And guess who is Benjamin Hornigold's second in command? Edward Thatch, Blackbeard the pirate, is at this time second in command for Benjamin Hornigold. So Bellamy and Paul Graves, they become part of the crew, and now they're along for the ride with Hornigold, and they continue on becoming pirates of the Caribbean during this time with the help of Thatch and Hornigold. And being part of this crew, Bellamy starts to rise up in the ranks, and they end up capturing several ships, and they capture this ship called the Sultana, and it was originally a galley, and they decide. Hornigold decides to promote Bellamy to captain, and so this ship becomes Bellamy's, and Paul Graves comes with him, and they start sailing around in the fleet with this new galley under his command, the Sulta, and then they um, they continue to become better and better pirates, and amassing more and more crew as they take on different as they take over different ships. They're offering the crew of those ships to join them as pirates. So Sam and Paul Graves, they start to get this reputation that a lot of the other pirates don't have. They get this reputation and bill themselves as Robin Hood-like. And they are known for their, especially Sam, for their generosity and their mercy. So they are taking over these ships, and they're showing mercy to the crew and the captain. In fact, several times they're taking, if it's a better ship, they're taking over the better ship and giving the captain and the crew that doesn't want to join them an older ship to send on their way. And they also have this reputation, and I don't know if this is verified or not, but when they send these folks on their way, they give them a day or two's worth of money, so that when they land the next place, they can get a room, they can have food and things like that. So that's where the Robin Hood aspect comes into play. They're being generous to the people that they're pirating. So they're cruising along, and they've got this this galley that they've been happy with, and then about 1717, they come along this ship that is such a prize. It's called the Widow, and it's sailing through the Windward Passage between Hispaniola and Cuba. Now, this ship was almost brand new. It was built in 1750, and it's state of the art. It's a 300-ton, 100-foot English slave ship, and it has about 18 guns on it. But the speed of this ship is exactly what a pirate like Bellamy wants. It has speeds up to 13 knots for a ship of its size. And so it's on its maiden voyage, and it's just finished its leg of the African slave trade, and it's like on the second side of this. So it's delivered its slaves and it's collected all the loot. So now here's where Bellamy becomes the most successful pirate of his time, and we're talking. He's been doing this for 4 or 5 months. Like, this is like unheard of. This slave ship was loaded with a fortune of gold, of Jesuit's bark, of ivory, and all of these precious trade goods from a sale that they did of about over 300 slaves. Now, Bellamy chases the Whittier for about 3 days before getting close enough to fire at them. And after firing just one shot, the captain of this ship, his name's Lawrence, the captain of this ship surrenders. Can you believe that? Just after one shot. And then, in his reputation for generosity, Bellamy gives Lawrence the ship that he was sailing on, the Sulta. And on the Whittier, he removes the captain's quarters because Sam wants everyone to be equal on his ship. So as where some pirate captains would be the ones that have like these amazing, elaborate quarters for themselves, such as Blackbeard. Blackbeard had beautiful quarters on the Queen Anne's Revenge. Well, Sam removes it, and so there's no captain's quarters, so everybody's kind of sharing the same space. He also upgrades. He takes the guns from the Sultana and puts them on board the Whittier, and so now it has about 28 guns. So he's got this beautiful ship, state of the art, super fast, and now he's also got a giant load of treasure on board this ship, and everyone is excited and happy. All of his crew are ecstatic, and so now he feels like, I have enough treasure that I'm going to go back and I'm going to marry Goody, or Maria, or Mary, whatever her actual real name was. So in this time, while he's out for 6 or 7 months doing his pirate thing, well, Goody was left pregnant, and something happened. So she keeps the pregnancy a secret for as long as she can, but unfortunately, she gives birth to the son in a barn. She hides the child in the barn to keep warm while she goes out and gets food for the child, which seems like weird, right? Like she would be breastfeeding the child at that time. But for whatever reason, she leaves the barn, and when she returns, the child has been choked to death on the straw. Now, these are the stories. This actually has a bit of handed down history as well as written history, because she was then prosecuted for this. She was arrested for the child's murder and imprisoned in jail. And she was imprisoned in this jail that still exists to this day. Her sentence was, relatively short at the time. Her parents were wealthy, but she was exiled from the town. During all of this, she's still pining for Sam. She's waiting for Sam to return to her. And there's stories to this day where she became kind of like, her legend is that she becomes a witch. She dies around this time in these places, and there's like the jail and her house and even the barn are all known to be haunted with her spirit, obviously for her child, waiting for Sam to return. It's just a sad story, right? And so this is happening while Sam is trying to return to her with this fortune that he has amassed, him and Paul Graves, right? Well, normally I don't tell you what happened to these pirates. In the book, of course, they don't return. They don't. The story of them becomes a part of my book. But I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the rest of Sam's story, only because it's so sad. And since I tell you about the story of this poor girl waiting for him, and how she ends up, I just want to finish it. I think it's necessary for you to know. So when Sam is returning to the Cape after amassing this fortune and being such a successful pirate, well, his ship is lost in a storm. There's actually a couple ships, I think 3 altogether, that were on their way back to the Cape, all loaded with treasure, but the Whittier had the most. And he crashes the ship into the rocks and the reefs of the Cape, and one sailor is lost in this. Sam Bellamy dies. Everybody dies except one pirate. All of the treasure is lost and scattered throughout. There is, over the years, there's been a lot of this treasure has been found from treasure hunters seeking it. But that is how our poor Sam Bellamy, the most successful pirate of this time, ends. The Robin Hood of the sea is no more. He never was able to make it back to his lovely bride-to-be, and she never sees him again. What a story. It's just so sad. So Bellamy, he was described as a very distinct figure, tall, strong, well-mannered. He liked expensive clothes, especially black coats. He had favorite weapons. He had these 4 dueling pistols that he always carried with him. He was called Black Sam Bellamy because he had very long, luxurious black hair, almost like to make any woman jealous of this hair that he had. He also was a man he was also one who had his own pirate flag. He was one of the first pirates to utilize the skull and the crossbones that you see in all of the pirate movies and pirate ship images. That all is from the story of Black Sam Bellamy. So he's quite a figure, and a sad ending for the young man. So I think that does it for our podcast today. You can reach me at darkgravity@gmail.com. There's a Facebook page for the Pirates of the Wild West. There's soon to be more stuff. I started an Instagram, and I'll continue telling you about this journey, about writing this book. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me back with that. It will end up being, it's 100,000 words, so 400 and something pages. And I'm very excited about it. I have a couple more characters that I will talk about within these podcasts. But as it is now, the title of the book. I'll change it on the podcast feed. And welcome to this. And thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, and go out and live the pirate life.